Hey YouTube, welcome back to Universe X, and today we're actually going to talk about the new cycle of cards, the Realm of the Gods cards, because a lot of people have been saying that these are just like kind of watered down attack rares. Some people said these cards are really good, some people said these cards are really bad, and I just feel like a lot of people are looking at it through a weird lens. First off, I think comparing them to the attack rares is kind of flat out wrong for a couple of reasons. That being said, before we go into all these things, I just want to give out the normal plugs. If you haven't already looked at the official Facebook group, where you get all the official announcements and posts and spoilers, the discussion group on Facebook, where you can, just kind of see everybody discuss everything that happens with this game. The Reddit on Reddit, I don't know why I said the Reddit on Reddit, subreddit on Reddit? Subreddit on Reddit, where you can see a bunch of like text-based just discussion in case videos just aren't your thing all the time, or you just want a good read, you don't want to have to listen to somebody's voice sometimes. And they're all just good fonts of places for information. You also have the Universe X Discord, where we discuss anything from the card game to video games to different animes to different games in general. Like, there's so much to do there, so much to talk about there. I need to be in there more often. Sheesh. And then you've got the Universe X Facebook group. All these things are really cool places to be. And I just got a real quick slide in there, my friend, partial sponsor, TCGMetalZ, and you can go there and find some really cool metal cards for the set. He's always trying to make things better, always trying to improve, always trying to just make just new strides in the artwork he puts out. And you can use the code UNIX in the checkout to get 10% off your order. Last but not least, I do Dragon Ball gaming on a separate channel, also in the description. All these links, phenomenal. Check them out. So, we are at a point where we kind of just are looking at these cards. We got the full spoilers and people are trying to really deck build. And sorry, over the course of this game, a lot of people have been asking, like, when are we going to slow down? Do you think we're going to go away from playing, cards that are more expensive? Well, that's kind of a sort of moot point, if it makes sense. Only because with the way cards are, normally the boss cards might cost 8, but you're going to be playing 3 to 4 for them. There's going to be some other playing conditions. You will never get to a part where you're paying 8 for an 8 drop outside of blue. It's just not really going to work. And so you're always going to have to be cheating out these higher cost cards. Now, the reasons why these cards are higher costed is that, one, if you do get up to 4 energy, you shouldn't be playing something that should be worth 8 energy, so they're never just going to kind of condense the energy cost like that. But at the same time, some cards are going to affect cards with lower costs. You don't want to have a 4 cost boss card when blue can bounce 4 costs all day to the bottom of the deck. So yes, conditions to be cheating out these bigger creatures, battle cards, they're always going to be there. They're going to be there. Now, that being said, it is very interesting that every one of these cards, with the exception of one that just kind of has a little bit of unhinged removal, 4 out of 5 of these cards specifically target battle cards that have a higher cost than your opponent has energy. And that's because they want you to be able to swing the tempo. You might be able to cheat in these cards, but those cards will only have 1 turn to be out 9 times out of 10. Before your next turn, they can be wiped off the board for 1 energy. So, we are about to go into these cards, and we are about to kind of talk about the pluses and minuses, and I want to get your thoughts. And yeah, if you end up liking the content by the end of the video, think about hitting that like and subscribe button, the notification button, comment, let me know how you feel too, and let's dive in. So, first and foremost, I think it's actually really cool that these cards come in both like uncommon and SPRs, at rare and SPR. And the SPRs look beautiful, so I'm very happy for that. However, these cards are different than the IRs. Or the IARs. The attack rares are very interesting, but they kind of embody the colors, just prime objective. Red is going to, like, they all give you 15k attack, but red is also going to minus something by, like, what, 10k through barrier. You have yellow negating an effect through barrier. You have blue able to draw or untap an energy. You have green discarding a card from a hand, and then you have black, which is milling 4. So that's all pretty good, but they have no flexibility. It's a card that helps your deck do what it's supposed to do better. Yellow's already tapping things and bringing things in without any effects. You know, this card allows you to wipe effects while you're on the board. You know, blue is drawing and untapping. That's what this thing does. Red is minusing power. But these cards are a little different because they have a different effect depending on whether you use them on your turn or your opponent's turn, and the effect that's always on your turn is the destruction effect, the effect that's almost exclusively hating on overcosted battle cards, whereas the effect on the backside is the more color themed effect. So I think that, like what I was touching on before, is that this shows that they're not going to change how these boss cards work anytime soon. They will always be fat 6, 7, 8 costs that get cheated out for you know, additional, to avoid any sort of future conflict of design that could touch lower costed cards, but to also allow cards like these to come in and instantly hate on them. So that's pretty cool. Now these cards scale as well, because since they target things that are equal to or greater than the energy, it means that you're going to be able to, actually let me make sure they say greater. I know it's definitely equal to, but or it's definitely greater than, but you don't know if it's equal to. And I just want to check that real quick. Don't want to leave you guys hanging. But what I was basically trying to say here is is that these effects are actually really, really cool. Now, if it's equal to or greater than, this is about to be like a ginormous dub, and I'm sorry that I blanked on that like mid-video. But at least being greater than, anytime somebody plays something above curve, you get to clap it. And this says energy costs greater than their current energy. So that is unfortunate, but it's that kind of is balance as well. So you'll be able to like do things like, you know, if your opponent is playing a card like a Unison like Zeno, and they put an energy up and then they use like a 3-drop, but then they go down to 2 energy. You can use this on them on your next turn. If somebody cheats out a boss card, you know, on turn 3 I play Divine Presence. You can snipe that out. D-Bro would have been able to have all of his cards picked off by this. Turles is Turles has a certain amount of cost, and it comes down for 2 energy when you have 3 or more. So for 2 turns, Turles can be smoked by this, you know? There's a lot of good stuff that this card can do, but you have to pay attention to your windows and when to use it. Now, against decks like Sin Shenron, most of their cards, if the card doesn't have barrier, the card is going to be able to be removed by these cards. So let's actually go over them real quick. You have red, and these are kind of like, I'm gonna go from kind of what I think is worst to best, and I'm gonna put it out there right now. I think red and blue are tied for worst, because half of their effect is actually good and the other half is kind of not. So red's your turn effect is you target a battle card that has, you know, more cost than your opponent does energy, and you give it -30. Okay. And then it's your opponent's turn effect. And by the way, all these base will give you 10k. They will give you a Unison, or they'll give a card you control 10k. And then if your energy is like all like, yeah. Let me actually get the exact wording so I can explain it to you guys. Exact wording. If your leader card and energy are all red, choose up to one of your cards and it gains 10k for the battle, and then you choose one. So you have to have that energy and your leader, but then on top of that, it goes 10k instead of the 15 that the IRs gave you, or ARs gave you, and then then you start getting the juicy effects. So yeah, this one, if it's your turn, you get to -30k from something that's overcosted. Then if it's your opponent's turn, you get an additional 5k power to any card, but then you also draw. And it's for the battle too, so you pretty much have to give it to the card that's being swung on, but you also get to draw a card. So basically, this is going to be an Unbreakable, except 5 more K. And Unbreakable is a good card. I wouldn't run Unbreakable now, but Unbreakable was a good card when it came out. It was an excellent card, and on top of it being an excellent card, you can at least use it for removal here. Now, the reason why I feel like this is kind of the worst one, or tied for the worst one, is because the back effect is actually pretty cool. 1 energy for 15k combo power and you draw a card. In certain decks, like for instance my Gohan deck, if I were to run this in a deck like Gohan, like, and this is just an example, I'm trying to think of any deck that has like things like interactions that actually work with this right now. But just thinking back on it, when you use a vanilla and you need a combo and a challenger, the vanilla needs to be the only thing in your combo area when the challenger happens, or else that's bad. This is an extra card, so you don't have to use it, or it doesn't take up a space in your combo zone. You can be like, oh, I have a vanilla but no challenger, or vice versa. Play this card, go up 15k, draw one. Ooh, there's the other piece to my combo. Vanilla, draw one off Gohan and the one drop. Challenger, draw another one. And at that point, you filtered through 4 cards, and you've gone up a total of, if you didn't soul burn, 25,000. If you did soul burn, you're going up to 31,000. Or throwing up by 31,000. That's pretty great. But the first effect sucks. And when I say this, it's because it's not even hard removal. It's 30k. So if something's 35k, you don't get rid of it. If something is a secret rare, you don't get rid of it. And that is so asinine. It's like, it sucks that red got juiced like that. In that case, it should have been a minus 40k. It just should have straight up been a minus 40k, and it would have been perfect. So that sucks. Next, we're gonna move on to blue, which is tied, I think. You got Realm of the Gods, Beerus Destroys. During your turn, you tuck an overcosted battle card, which is great. It doesn't leave it in the grave for them to recur, doesn't leave it in the grave for them to overwhelm. But if they have a search for the boss card, lots of boss cards are kind of, you gotta draw them, you can't necessarily search them, but if it is a searchable boss card, you do give them the opportunity to get it back. So that's unfortunate. But this opponent's turn is atrocious. Tuck a 2 cost or less battle card and draw a card. That is butt cheeks, man. Like, if it ignored barrier, I'd be so much happier. If that last part ignored barrier, that would be cool. But the way it is, it's completely useless later in the game. You just draw a card. You gain 10k and you draw a card, which is, I guess, slightly better than just comboing with one of the mini 10ks you can't have in your hand in blue, but geez. Moving on to the next card, I think. Green, yeah, Realm of the Gods, Champa Destroys. Now this card, you either just flat out destroy an overcosted battle card, that's cool, or you discard 1 card from your opponent's hand and you gain an extra 5k. So in terms of this is actually a really neat card, because when you use it on your opponent's turn, of course, you are doing a couple things. You go up by 10k, you go up by another 5k, and then you choose a card. They don't get to discard. You get to choose a card from their hand, and you rip it. So your opponent is going to be in a position where you just went up 15k and they potentially lost combo power. And if you happen to do something like, I don't know, nick a super combo or a live combo card, that's just gonna feel really bad for them, because you're gonna swing up and you're forcing them to swing down. That's amazing. That is amazing. Oh, I'm so sorry. They do get to choose in their hand and discard it. Yeah, okay, so it's not as good as I thought. But you are still potentially, if they don't have a dead card to drop, which isn't likely, there's got to be some dead card, a unison or an extra card they don't need if they're going to shotgun you for game. But you do change the math a fair amount. I like that a lot. Next, you have black, Crimson Hero Strike. I think this is the second best one. One, because on your turn, it warps. Warping is still, at this very moment, the hardest area to get stuff back from outside of black. So when you warp a card, that's kind of finito. Like, that's final. Your opponent's gonna sit here and be like, well, that kind of sucks. And then it's during their turn, you're gonna draw a card and mill up to 3 cards from the deck. Now, the milling can do a fair amount of things that are good for you. You know, you just overwhelm, you have 2 cards engraved, but you need the sparking. You can use this with 1 energy. Draw another card, mill 3, and then have sparking for power burst. Wonderful. You can do this, mill 3, have the ability to turn on Rebellion Hammer. Wonderful. So between the warping and then the fact that you can set up your black plays with this, it's wonderful. But now, of course they did, you got yellow, black Mameya. This one is arguably the most snapped card. On your turn, it's just going to blow up a rested card, which is not hard because yellow rests everything. Power of the Super Saiyan, Steadfast, like, you literally rest everything. You got Poutine, you got this Trunks blocker, barrier blocker if you're going to be playing the Trunks deck. This deck literally just yellow taps down everything, and this card just destroys a tapped card. Very versatile. And then the opponent's turn is draw 1 card and then tap 2 battle cards. Because you're tapping 2 battle cards, I don't even think you needed to draw 1. Because some of these guys, like look, red draws. Actually, do all of them draw? No, green makes your opponent discard, but you don't draw. But I don't think this needed to draw because it's very deadly. Like, it replaces itself and it taps down 2 cards. Yeah, we needed that. Spoiler, we didn't. So those are the ones. Like I said, I think it's really cool that the back ends do flavorful things, and I think it's also really cool that the your opponent's turn effects are all flavorful towards the color, but your the effects that happen during your turn are just, for the most part, clean removal. And I think that's actually very important when you're looking at a format. Yes, not every deck needs removal. I think things like Turles are a bit too powerful, but a 1 cost that destroys something tapped, that's not bad. And it's an extra card, so you can't combo with it. You can't just turn sideways with it after it's done. This is the sort of removal that I think yellow should have had, not Turles. Just my opinion. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think this rotational card should be picked up. You need to get your rares. If you know you're just going to be playing this game for a while, I would just pick up all your SPRs because these are staples. These can be sided, these can be main depending on your strategy. I think all these are good, and the artwork is so sick for these SPRs. So yeah, that is how I feel. Like I said, if you like the content, think about hitting that subscribe button. I will see you guys the next time you are in Universe X, and I hope you guys are having a great night. Later. Or day if you're watching this, or afternoon. I'm posting it at night. You may watch it another time, but whenever you watch it, I appreciate you.